In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Properties panel, which is new in Illustrator 2018, and the Layers panel. Let's start by talking about the Layers panel. On the right-hand side, I can simply click Layers to switch to the Layers panel. You can go to Window, Layers if you don't see it, or press F7 on your keyboard to make it appear. Right now I have 3 layers set up, and these work very similarly to Photoshop layers. As I move my mouse over these objects, you can see there's an outline that changes color. So this went from black to blue. And then here's red. And finally, here's green. I'll zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. Right, there's a green outline. This is based on the layer color right here. So these are all on the blue layer, which is labeled layer 1. These are all on the red layer, which is layer 2. And this is on the green layer, which is layer 3. On the far left-hand side, we have eyeballs we can click, just like Photoshop, to show and hide a layer. Next to that, we have these blank spaces. These will lock the layers, so it will make them unable to be edited. So if I don't want to be able to edit this layer, it won't even let me select it. And then each layer actually retains the shapes and strokes that you make within that layer. When you twirl down, you can see the different objects within that layer. So these are almost like groups in Photoshop. Here's another one. Here's the final text layer. We can make a new layer simply by clicking the Create New Layer button at the bottom of the screen. We can give it a name. We can change its color by double-clicking the blank space next to it. And there's various options in here that you can play around with. To delete a layer, we simply select the layer and click the trash can. Now, by default, as we click around, it's switching which layer we're on based on what we're clicking. But if we want to actively select a layer, we can simply click the circle to select just that layer. So if I want to select this layer, I just click the circle and it selects everything within that layer. Similarly, if I twirl this down, I can pick each one individually, select it that way. So just like Photoshop, you need to stay organized, rename layers, make sure that you're understanding the ordering here. So this layer is on top of this layer, and you can reorder these by clicking and dragging them. It's just like Photoshop. Now let's explore the Properties panel in Illustrator, which is new in Illustrator CC 2018, so make sure you're up to date. The Properties panel is a new panel in Illustrator that adjusts based on what you have selected. It's context sensitive. So right now I have nothing selected. It says no selection, and it gives me my document settings like artboards, grids, and rulers, and we'll get into these things later. As I select things, right now it's changed. It says I've selected a rectangle. It gives me options to modify that. So I can change its width and height, the appearance, so it's fill and stroke and opacity, things like that. And then it gives me some quick actions here. Now most of these menus are not complete. They don't have all of the settings, so this transform menu doesn't have every transformation I can do. In fact, I can find more by simply clicking this little dot 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 here. It'll bring up more options. Similarly, the appearance panel, if I click the dot dot dot, it brings up the full appearance panel. But this is a really great new feature of Illustrator. It allows us to basically work on context alone and not have to do a lot of switching between different tools to make different modifications. I'll select this text here, and we'll have slightly different options in our Properties panel. So before, whenever we were selecting shapes, we had these options. Whenever I select text, we have these options, like changing the font size, changing the font itself. This really reduces the clutter that you have on your screen in Illustrator. This also changes based on the tool you have selected. If I select, for instance, the pen tool, the options within the Properties panel change. If I select the brush, the options change again. So the Properties panel is what we're going to be using for all of these demonstrations. This is really our main way of editing things within Illustrator.